Hey everyone, this is Nitro. So, you may know from my previous videos that at this point, after 2 weeks, I still do not have a Malthus because on the first video, I ended up doing 80 draws, so I was at pity rate, and then I used that pity rate to get an Aurora. Then on the second after that, I did another 80 draws on Malthus, and I still hit pity rate yet again. So this is kind of the third attempt at getting the Malthus, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the pity rate on the Twilight Fang. This is a little bit of a whale move, because I know in the future you get more copies of Twilight Fang, but truthfully speaking, after getting this Malthus, I do not plan to draw at all until January, when the Evangelion banner comes out. So given that's the case, this is kind of like my final draw video for pretty much, what, 2.5 months? So why don't I just whale it up? I guess that's what it comes down to. So let's just do the 10 draw on the Twilight Fang banner and see if I get a Twilight Fang or get an off banner to start. And it is the Twilight Fang. So on banner Twilight Fang, I get a copy of it, which will help me. Basically, I have two uses for it, I should mention. The first is to get my current Twilight Fang into Rainbow. Okay. So that will be assisted by the dispatch missions of notes, because right now that's actually what I've been targeting. I've been doing the spark plug. I've been focusing on spark plug so that I can rapidly get a Twilight Fang. And my goal is to get a Rainbow Twilight Fang ASAP. So if I go through this once, I'm gonna get a part and then a dupe of the Twilight Fang. Then I go through it one more time, get another part and another dupe. That'll get me enough to get the Rainbow Twilight Fang right off. Okay? So that's the first use of it. The second use is actually to break it down into the modules, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to run several characters who could use the Twilight Fang special effect. So breaking it down into modules will give the Fang Frame effect, where when equipping two weapons of different types in each hand, damage increased by 20%. So that would probably be very, very powerful on Sylvie, and I can also use it on my Frida. Because once I do have a Twilight Fang that is rainbowed, I can throw that Twilight Fang onto Frida. And then Frida will basically be able to load raid and attack repeatedly for one action. So, and in that kind of situation, I probably want a shotgun and a shield to maximize that damage output. So that's probably, or is very likely, what's going to happen. My Glass and Sylvie are going to kind of each want plus 20% damage each, right? And then my current Glacia will most likely go to Hong as a result. So it's going to be like a Dread Talon for Sylvie, a Glacia for Hong, and then a Twilight Fang for Frida. And most likely, both the Glacia and the Twilight Fang will be rainbowed, although the Dread Talon will be stuck at, what is it? I think 3 stars, or sorry, 3 gold, gold 3, whatever. Unless I manage to farm from the delivery network again 2 more copies of Dread Talon, which once more, it is possible, right? There is the Dread Talon part from the Arsenal one, so I could theoretically farm for 2 copies of the Dread Talon to have a rainbowed Dread Talon as well. But we'll see. So that was my general idea. So now that I did get my Twilight Fang and Aurora, I am now going to aim for the Malthus at long last. So here we go. First 10 draw. And I get an off-banner DS Lake. Okay, Oh, side note, the other reason I've been focusing on this banner, the goal was to get Malthus parts, okay? But I've gotten 2 off-banner parts on this banner now, right? I did get a torso, so I've gotten 3 parts from this banner so far, from the 180 draws or whatever. Sorry, 170 draws, right? The 3 parts were a Malthus torso, an Malthus Arm, and now that DS part. So the 60-40 chance has not been favoring me for parts, but it has been favoring me for the full mechs. I can't really complain about that. Alright, next. 20 draws into the Malthus banner. Okay. At least I got a full mech, A rank mech out of it. $30 draws into this banner. Nope. It is a Centurion. B rank mech. 40 draws into this banner. Another Centurion. Not really a bad thing. I can use it to level up my Kong. $50 draws. Another Centurion. Wow. $60 draws. I do get a Malthus Arm. Okay. So not too shabby, I guess. 70 draws. Wow, looks like I'm gonna pity rate one last time. $80 draws. Yep, it's gonna be pity rates. 90 draws. This is the pity draw. Come on, Malthus. Yes. Okay. So, all in all, 3 banners, won the 60-40 chance on all 3. Although I hit pity rates 3 times in a row. I'm not really sure how I feel about that. Being honest with you. Okay? Because it is what it is. But on the bright side, I did end up with 2 parts for the Malthus as well. So that puts me a little bit ahead in terms of getting some of the Malthus parts to gold 3. Because that is my goal. Get some Malthus parts to gold 3, get the connectors to the gold connectors, and then lastly, with Malthus at gold 3, you can equip the secondary skill on it, which I believe is the breaker mod, right? Yeah, the breaker mod. So once they're all at gold 3, you can actually get breaker mod parts, I believe from the arena shop, was it? One of the shops. Let me look. No, not arena shop. Border FTZ. There it is. So I could aim to get 4 of these parts, and then that would raise this to level 8, so that I could have a Malthus that has the movement inhibition special effect. So I think that's just my general plan here. I was hoping to get more Malthus parts, like 1 more. So I might draw a few more times on that banner. And the idea is, and the main reason to draw a few more times on this banner as a side note, probably won't record it, but the general idea was the parts, right? If I draw, let's say 1 more time, right? Because you need 38 draws without getting an ST part to have a chance of getting another ST part. And it maxes out at 55 times, right? So I got a part earlier. A few more draws should be able to get me that last part, the guaranteed version. So if that last part is another Malthus one, then I only need one more part to have a gold 3 Malthus. I think that's going to be my strategy. But I have, I guess, 6 more days to gather a bit more solid Erasium, as well as the shipping vouchers. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty satisfied with this. I can't complain about getting at least on-banner mechs, even if I got some off-banner parts and so on. And although I didn't have any luck in terms of not hitting the pity rate, I did end up getting all 3 of these mechs over the last 3 weeks, so it works out pretty well. So for those interested in how my draws have gone since the start of the game, I put together a few, I guess, Google spreadsheets of my draw rates and the results. So at the start, I re-rolled my account to ensure I got a Hong off right from the beginning of the game. So 10 draws got me a Hong right away, and then on a new player's guaranteed banner, I picked up a copy of Frida. So that gave me 2 S-rank pilots to start. You also got Catherine for 3, but I don't really use her at all. Okay. Then when the Hong banner was available, I drew 120 times on it. I got an off-banner Frida, followed by a on-banner copy of Hong. So that rates both of those characters to 1 out of 5 potential, which gives them an additional action point to start each match. On the Sylvie banner, it took me 110 draws. Got an off-banner Catherine, which raises Catherine to 1 out of 5 potential as well. Again, I don't even have her built. But then I got my Sylvie, which was arguably the more crucial element. Okay. And then Naomi was free after a week of play. Okay. Following that, Harpy Roulette took me 46 draws out of a maximum of 51. I have not used that pilot potential yet. I'm just holding it in reserve. Okay. And then Eileen banner came up, and it took me 20 draws to get Eileen. So one of the few times that I didn't seem to hit pity rate. Hunter's Freedom event gives you a tactical pilot potential item, which I used on Eileen to give her +1 action points. And lastly, Melissa banner, I got her on 30 draws. Okay. So in total, you can see it took me 300 draws to get 8 pilots. Okay? 8 copies of pilots. So that's roughly a 2.67% pilot rate. And since 2 out of the 8 were off banner, it means I have a 25% off banner rate at this time. Okay. But you can see, due to getting multiple dupes of characters, my S-rank pilot kind of variety is not very wide right now. I don't have Marcus because I never drew for him. I don't have William, all that kind of stuff. But all the characters I do use, most of them do have the first potential unlocked, giving them an extra action point to start the match. Now, finally, there is the ST drawing, and I believe this chart is much more interesting because of all the mechanics that are involved with drawing for STs. First of all, my rates for both SSR parts as well as SSR STs is significantly lower than for the pilots, right? It's 1.21% for the STs and a mere 1.06% for the SSR parts. It should be higher, but I believe the major limitation is the fact that you're only guaranteed 1 SSR part per 55 draws on a banner, right? And so you end up very often with banners where you won't get an SSR part at all. Like, for example, the new player's guaranteed banner, where you draw 30 times, there's no SSR part, right? When I draw 10 times to hit pity rate on one of the banners, I'm not going to get a part off that banner. So it's only when you do like 50 or 60 draws on a specific banner that you would get a part there. And in addition, given it's a 55 draw chance, you would basically have to do 110 draws to get 2 parts on that one of those banners, if that makes sense. But you often stop before that. Like, you can see on some of these banners, I do, let's say, 80 draws. And since I get the mech, I stop drawing. Yeah. So that's why the parts rate is actually lower than the ST rate. But yeah, I mean, the new player's guaranteed banner, 30 draws. I was fortunate to get a Twilight Fang there. Glacia banner, it took me pity rate to get the Glacia, but I also got 2 parts off of that banner. So I got the Glacia mech, as well as the legs. I also got an off-banner Cephas legs, which has been sitting in my... it's been sitting unused. I guess that's what I should say. XR part... Or sorry, XR, I got off a pity rate. And then I was stupid enough to try to draw for a second copy of Glacia. So, full disclosure, this was when I didn't really understand the rules behind the drawing. And so, in 80 draws, I ended up getting a Kong heavy mech. Okay, so I drew 80 times on that. I got a Glacia left arm, but I also got a Kong heavy mech. It didn't actually turn out to be a horrible thing, because Kong is one of the best heavy mechs anyways, but I really got bailed out there. Okay. Arcus was 3, just kind of written here just for recording purposes. And on the Dread Talon banner, 90 draws got me 2 Dread Talon parts, plus the Dread Talon itself. I then flipped back to the Glacia banner, did 20 more draws to pick up a torso of the Glacia. Like, you could tell I was very focused on trying to build up a Glacia at the beginning. Honestly, to a ridiculous extent. Looking at this in hindsight, I never should have done that many draws on the Glacia banner. Okay. And then I similarly drew 60 times on the Dread Talon banner, picking up another legs. Okay. And that put me at pity rate. Okay. So, I used that pity rate on the Kong banner with William when it showed up. Okay. And got a second copy of Kong. So what you can kind of see at that point, near the end of August, okay, what I ended up having was, combined with the Harpy Roulette, where I used the S-grade mech part on my Dread Talon, I had 2 copies of Dread Talon that made my Dread Talon, gold 2. And if I get the upgrade materials, it could raise to gold 3. I had 2 copies of Kong, so that was gold 2, with the potential to raise to gold 3. Glacia, I had 3 of the 4 parts necessary. So combine that with dispatch missions, my Glacia is also gold 2 with the potential to raise to gold 3. Okay. So all my core mechs in the early stages of the game anyways, they are all ready to be upgraded to gold 3. Okay. Rainbow will need another 2 copies, but my thought process was always that I can get 2 copies of mechs from dispatch missions. So pretty much all of these mechs over time are guaranteed to be rainbowed, right? Glacia is done, Dread Talon is done, Twilight Fang is done, and Kong is done. That gives me 4 rainbowed mechs right there. Okay. So, the Malthus banner, which was shown in these later recordings, right? First time I drew on the Malthus banner, 80 draws didn't get me a mech. I was at pity rate, and I got an Arcus left arm. So I waited a week and used that pity rate on Aurora to get the Aurora mech. Then I drew for the Malthus yet again, and I hit pity rate yet again. So 80 draws, it got me a Malthus torso, but no mech. So, and then I waited until this week, this video, where I got a pity rate Twilight Fang, and then hit pity rate one more time on the Malthus banner, and I was fortunate enough to actually get Malthus. Okay. So that's kind of the current state that I'm at. There was, I think, yeah, that's where I'm at right now. And so, all in all, the end result is pretty solid, I would say, right? In terms of getting off banners, I've been very fortunate in terms of mechs. Luck has really been favoring me, right? You're supposed to have a 60% chance to get on banner and 40% chance to get off banner. But my off banner rate for STs has been 11.11%. So that's ridiculously low. Okay. As for parts off banner, more or less what you would expect, 42.86%. Okay. So that's kind of my current status. Oh, lastly, I should add it somewhere, but I did get an off banner, or not an off banner. I did get an additional part, which was the legs of the bluebird, and those bluebird legs actually came from border conflict. So I don't remember the date, but I think it was 2 weeks ago. So maybe I'll just add that as another line for future purposes. But yeah, that's kind of my current status with regards to STs and mechs. It's been a very interesting situation. So very low rate of SSRs overall, but very high accuracy in terms of getting off on banners. Okay. So thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you found this video overall quite interesting. And on that note, Nitro out.